Okay, so now we are ready for assembly into the new stock. What we've got in our new stock kit from Tapco, you've got your main stock where your receiver and your barrel mount. This has the front lower rail. This is where your pistol grip's going to mount and your buttstock will mount in the rear here. We've got the pistol grip, which is a saw style grip. You have your 6-position adjustable buttstock, and we have the top rail and your gas tube heat shroud. And last but not least, this is our John Mason muzzle brake. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with our gas tube. This will be step number 1. Let's take your heat shroud that you've got for your gas tube, and we're going to get it to make sure that it properly fits with your gas tube and with your end piece here. We got to make sure they all fit together. We need to get the holes in this piece here to line up with this hole in your gas tube so that we can put a pin through it, and that will hold the front piece on. So you'll notice on your new Tapco piece here that this has little tabs on it at the top and at the sides, just little pieces of material that are left up there, which make the fit extremely tight, which you can't actually put it on until you do a little bit of filing on it. So if you want to file those tabs down, and the one on the bottom on the side of each one, till you can get these two pieces to fit on all the way down good and snug, go ahead and do that. And then to assemble this, once you've got that filed down, this piece will push right in snug. You'll notice that this piece here says front on one side and rear on the other, deep down inside here. Don't know if it'll show it or not. Yeah, there you can see front, rear. Front of the gun on this gas tube right here is going to be the larger end. You will see when you took it off there was the large diameter plug that you pulled that off of. So we're going to take the front of this piece and we're going to slide that right into the front of the Tapco piece. Alright, now we're going to take this rear piece, and this is going to slide on over that back piece. Now what we need to do is make sure that we can line these holes up so we can get a pin through. So you may have to do a little bit of tapping, a little more filing to get that to fit. I'm going to have to tap mine on here. And I think I've got that right there. So this pin that we pulled out of here, they give you a replacement pin for. It's going to look like this. It is an aluminum pin. This is a steel pin. This new one has a larger head on it than the old one, but it is also a little bit longer by just a couple millimeters. What you have to do with this new pin, if you want to use this one, is you have to put your pin in, then you have to take this to a vise, and with the amount extra that this pin extrudes out the other side, which is about that much, you would have to crush it flat in a vise, because this piece has to fit inside of another part and it has to be completely flat. So if you want to go through that and you have a vise, go ahead and go do that now. You can press that piece in. If you don't want to, you can use the old pin, as long as you didn't screw it up too bad when you took it out. Alright, so I am going to tap my new pin, or my existing pin, in here. And hopefully it'll go right in without any problems. I'm going to use that as a little bit of a support piece. Okay, and I think we are about through. Let me give that a good squeeze there. There she goes. Alright. So now you have that pin in, you have yourself a nice snug fit on your gas tube. Alright, so that's step one. Okay, step two, we are going to take this guy here, your receiver and your barrel, and we are going to install it into your main stock piece. So let's clear us a little bit of room here. We're going to install this into here. So how you want to do this is you want to push the front of the stock into the housing piece right here, and then you want to just kind of rock it into here, rock it into the back of the stock. Now it's going to be a little bit tight, so you may have to kind of jiggle, do a little bit of squeezing to get it to fit. Once it goes in, it should just squeeze right down inside. And the tighter the fit, the better. There we go. Because that assures that you're going to have a nice, tight weapon. Alright, so this is what we have now, with it just basically squeezed into the stock. Alright. Now, for our next step, we are going to install our trigger group. So, provided in the Tapco kit, you will notice that you got a little spring about that big. What we're going to do with this spring is it is going to install in your stock. You will see that there is a hole right there that this spring is going to drop right down inside of, like so. Okay, and what that's going to do is that's going to put a little bit of pressure on your trigger, so that the next time you have to pull it out and you have to use this little tool, that you can, it'll pop itself back out, give you a little extra force to pull it out. Alright, so let's go ahead and slide our trigger group in. It locks to the receiver. And then we're going to just squeeze it right on down until it clicks, which could be tough. This is that same button. There she goes. So now you have your trigger group pressed in and locked down. Alright. So we've got the rifle in the stock, we've got the trigger group in. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to put our gas tube back on the weapon. So let's go ahead and slide our nicely cleaned pistons in. Take this lever back on the side, rotate it up till that sits flush, lock that guy back in. Alright, so another thing that we need to do here is there are little tabs on the bottom of this piece here, and you guessed it, we're going to file those suckers off so that that will sit flat against the top of the stock. So this will just take a couple minutes here. And I don't know if you have to take these all the way down or if you just have to file them down little by little until they fit. We will, I guess, have to test them and find out. Whoops. And there, I did it. This is what I was telling you about. This is your piston extension and the spring that will pop out if you get that just past that little mark, or that little degree right there. So to put this back in can be kind of a pain in the butt. You can use any type of a tool, an Allen key will work. Something you can just put a little pressure on, kind of just hold it in there, and then just rock that back down and it'll lock it back in. Alright, so I think I gotta take a little more off of here. Let's see, can I do this way here? That seems to be a pretty good way. If you've got yourself a little X-Acto blade, you can just trim these right off pretty easily. You don't even need to worry about filing them. And that does save a little bit of time there. Careful, we don't want any fingers missing. Especially not mine. I need them. And just about done. One more here. Okay. So, smooth those few little spots out. Alright. Now we should be able to just drop this right on. It should drop right down in that and lock right down. Okay, so now our gas tube is on the weapon, so now we have basically this right here. Okay, next thing we're going to do is put our pistol grip on. So you will need that 3/8 ratchet with a little extension. This big guy here that they give you. I like to put a little bit of oil on my threads. It makes it go into that plastic a little easier. It can be a real pain to try and muscle that in without a little bit of lubrication on it. Alright, so take your stock, you flip that little cap, open it up, and you'll see down inside that there's a hole down there. What I want to do here is I'm going to put a little oil on my screw here. Alright, just enough that it'll help it out a little bit. Then we're going to use the back hole up here. This is one that we're going to drop that down so it comes out like so. We're going to set our rifle upside down, lock that grip right up against that stud that's behind your trigger, and then we're going to tighten this guy down here. And it